Hello again everyone, Tracy here from Mini Scenes. Well, it's that time of year when I spend all my time getting glitter off things. The glitter you see all over the mat here, if you can see some sparkle where it shouldn't be, that is because, well, it's the aftermath of me having a go at using my new glitters on my nails, at which I'm a total amateur. But, you know, it's kind of got to be done. Right, I have here then some Christmas projects for you, which is nice, isn't it? Excuse me a moment, I'm just unplugging something. Right, here we go, Christmas projects. These moulds arrived literally half an hour ago. Oh, I do love Amazon. Right, I'll put you the link for these down below. They're so new, I will definitely have the link. We can have a go at making some Christmas decorations. You'll see some of these are so tiny. I think they'd be great for earrings and things. Maybe even these. These if you really wanted to show off. That if you were just being silly, maybe. They are pretty huge. As you can see, the size of them in my hand. That one's massive. Whereas these are dainty. Now, I'm not sure how small you can get with resins. I'm not going to use the UV. I'm going to stick with the epoxy today. So, there we go. So, these are our moulds. We're going to have a play. So, to put in them, I've got, obviously, pot of resin that's just sat there degassing. It's already mixed. I've got some fun stuff. Glow in the dark stars, 2 different colours, don't know what colours they glow, had those a while. We've got some gold mica powder. We've got one of the gorgeous glitters from Glitter Stella, that one's called Fantasia. We have got, oops, she says dropping things, rainbow alcohol ink. There's that one. We have got some metallic alcohol inks, got a couple of colours of those. This powder, I can't remember where I got it from, but it's a very glittery kind of mica. And then I've got some of the Let's Resin, various sort of chameleon powders, a couple of the chunky glittery ones, and then a whole load of nail art stuff. These were from British Rose. I've used them on my dragons before and they're rather good. These ones, the golds, I've had so long, God knows where I got those from. No idea what the brand is. And in case I decide to try and make some of the resin, with some of the inks or pigments or whatever sink, I've got my C-Deeper handy, ready shaken up. And I've got some red pigment. The other thing I didn't get out, and I will in a minute, is some red alcohol ink. Bear with me, what we got. Let's see if I can find the reds. Don't know where the red's gone. Let's have purple. Let's have a purple one, why not? Purple sort of Christmassy, isn't it? Right, there we go. So we've got an alcohol ink as well. And I'm just going to try these in different things in these moulds. Underneath it I have my matte, silicone matte. Underneath that is a heat mat, so if I get it all impatient as I usually do, I can zap it with a heat mat as well. That'll speed things up. So I've got all sorts of everything here just to play with. Now some of this is going to need mixing up, isn't it, into the resin. So I have a load of my little shot glasses and I'm going to put a little bit of resin into some of them. I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me that the chunky glitter is not going to work in the really fine ones, for example. So there's some obvious things in amongst this. But there's some things that I want to do, like try with the nail art stuff. Try putting it on the front, try putting it on the back. We'll just see. Anyway, let's get stuck in. I'm just going to pop the bubbles in these a bit. And we've got a small stirrer. Oh yeah, this is the other thing. Gonna need a wipe. Right then, give these all a little stir. Should be some heat in these by now. To be fair, for the sort of project we're working on here, I'm not really that bothered if there are some bubbles. Right, let's do this big one first because that looks exciting, doesn't it? So this glitter's gorgeous. Like I said, it's from Glitter Stella, one of my current favourite suppliers of things. The resin is currently, I'm still using the Union Jack Arts one. Still getting on with it fine, although I have got a batch from Let's Resin to start on as well. Next, I know that's another really good one. There we are. Get a little bit of heat in there. I've also, you can see the fumes that was giving off. It's not very often they go visible, but then they did. All the more reason for wearing your respirator, folks. And having all your windows open. You want a well ventilated room for anything to do with resin. Right, let's go really mad with the glitter. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? So this one, oh, now it does a funny thing. The minute you put it in with the resin, can you see how the colour changes? It's gone more golden, whereas this has got a lot more blue in it. Interesting. Never quite know why it does that. It's still gorgeous though. And I'm going to put some cheeky little stars in with this. These are the glow in the dark ones. Oh, there's a green one snuck in there. I wonder if I can get that out. There he is. As you can see, I've got gloves on as well. Forget half the time, then really regret it. Now this one is just going to be a case of chucking it straight in. Another little tip I've learned is if I keep putting my stick down, if I forget to wipe it, just keep putting it down in the same place, you then get a single blob to clear up. Ooh, that's going to be nice. Yeah, you get a single blob to clear up, which peels off a lot easier than lots of little splats and blobs all over the place. See, if there's a lazy way of doing it, I'll find it. The other thing I have handy, of course, is another mould that if I find I've mixed up too much, I can just chuck bits in. It's quite funny, I've had some really good results from all the leftovers and bits where I've made up too much stuff. Okay, let's try this in this one. I don't think we'll get any finer mould results with that one because the glitter is quite reasonably chunky. It's not a massive chunky glitter. But I think we might get away with it in that one. Now, that one has got quite a lot of detail to it. So I'm going to push the glitter and the resin around a little bit, make sure it's got to all the places it needs to go. There we are. Right, so experiment one. Easy peasy, chuck some glitter in it. Just make sure this is fairly full. So there goes our last bit. Right, so that's a big one and a small one, just with glitter, although granted I did put in a little bit of glow in the dark star shaped glitter too, just for a bit of fun. I went a bit berserk with the glitter there, so it'll be interesting to see how that ends up. You know, whether it's too much or whether I should have put a lot less. That's interesting. Okay. Let those settle. Give them a quick blast from my gun, and I mean really quick, because new mould, I don't want to scorch it. Knowing me, I probably will anyway. Right, next one then. Let's go with mica powder. Can't remember where they got this set from. It was only a cheap one. There's lots of different mica powders on the market. I'm kind of using these up before I move on to using my recent set. Oh, that's rather a lot. The set I got recently from Let's Resin. So I am using up my old set. The old set, although they were cheap ones. They've been very good. Okay, let's have a stirry. I love what mica powder does when you stir it. That suddenly turns into liquid gold. Might put a little bit more in that. A little bit more resin. I'm just adding a bit more clear. I do find you can overload the mica and you lose that swirly effect. So I'm just putting a bit more resin in. Giving it another good stir. The thing with mica you have to watch is you can get like blobs of mica in it that haven't mixed in properly. That looks pretty good, but it's worth just standing back and watching it for a minute. Maybe zap it with your torch a bit. Get those bubbles coming up, see what it brings with it. Nothing. That looks okay. Right, now this one, this is really going to be really fine, so I think I'll get away with this in these very tiny moulds. And the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to do two in case I want to make earrings. The way I'm going to do this is put a blob like that in the middle and then leave it. And the rest I'm going to pour in here. The reason I'm leaving it, I'm seeing it where it spreads to first. Could possibly do with it being a bit more liquidy. Might turn my heat mat on. But again, this one is so tiny and fine. I think what I'm going to have to do is that. Spread it around. I'm going to let that settle in, then I'm going to wipe the surplus off with one of my Wonder Wipes. Well, this is me messing about, guys and gals, and other assorted people. I don't know how good at viewing this is. It's going to be quite a long video by the time I finish messing, but of course you can fast forward through the bits that you think, oh, that's boring. And now she's waffling, you can fast forward through the waffle as well. There you go, look at that lovely mica. We've got a bit of gold mica left, aren't we? What should we do next, boys and girls? Here we go, let's have this one. This is the one that's a very glittery mica powder. Let's see, let's put some in this pot here. Now this just shimmers. It's almost like a fine glitter. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Again, I think we're going to get away with that in one of the small ones. Let's try it in this little guy. Again, letting it settle, see where it goes. Right, so we've got a bit of that one left as well. It's going to be glitter everywhere. I'm going to be so popular. Right, next, what else do we need to actually mix in? Oh yes, the red pigment. Give it a darn good shake. Wish they'd put ball bearings in these to start with. This is a red one, if I remember rightly. This is one of my Let's Resin ones. It doesn't say on it, I thought it was though. It's quite a strong pigment, so I'm not putting too much in. Clean my stirry stick. There we go, that is quite strong. It's also not very translucent. There's not a lot we can do about that, but maybe a solid red would be nice. Let's do this little one here. Also, because this, of course, there's no chunkiness in this, I bet it'll be nice in these. So, tell you what, let's put a bit in the points of this one. This is where we're playing. I'm going to end up not having enough moulds for the chameleon powders. Going to save the remaining biggish one for the chameleon. What I'm thinking here is I'm going to put gold in the middle because I've got a bit of gold left as well, hadn't I? Right, so let's do a bit of a clean up. You notice these bigger ones have got the little hole at the top already done for you, isn't that neat? It's a nice little set of moulds, this actually. They weren't expensive. Somewhere on Amazon. I'm going to put the links for everything that I can find links for still into the comments below. Let me know what you think though, folks. I just thought we'd have a bit of fun with some little Christmassy easy peasy projects. Put your comments below, I very much appreciate it. Always good fun reading your comments. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do. At the time of recording this, I've cleared my first 100 subscribers. We're up to 105 when I looked just now, and I am so grateful. That's wonderful. Right, now this one, I need a pointy thing. Pointy thing. Kebab skewers is the pointy thing in question this time. And what I'm doing is pulling some of the gold into the red, so it'll mix. Just pulling that in like so. See what we end up with. That could be pretty, couldn't it? Let's swirl the middle bit. Don't know whether it'll end up looking like a swirl, but hey. Right, now these two, before they get any, before it starts to thicken up, these two gold ones and a silver one actually, isn't it? Now I've never tried to make things this fine and delicate with epoxy resin. I tried it with UV, found it way too messy, it was too delicate, they just snapped and bended, and I've also tried it with polyester resin to no avail. So I'll be interested to see how sturdy these turn out. Right, going across with my stick, this will all end up all over my mat, but it is what it is. Now I can see already there's a bit not gone in there. I knew they were going to be fiddly, these little perishers. So I'm just going to use the stick to make sure I've got into all the nooks and crannies. Useful these. They literally are wooden kebab skewers. I could have got them from Poundland or something like that. Again, something I've had forever. Middle's doing something interesting. Let's put a bit more in of the gold. Looks as if it'll stand a bit of topping up. The actual gold one's properly full. Right. Now, where shall we go next? Where shall we go? Where shall we go? Let's give those another clean up. There we are. Right. What should we do next? Right, I'm going to get this little paintbrush. Actually, now I'll go in with one of these micro brushes. I'm going to try, this could be difficult, I'm going to try and get some into some mica pigments straight into these. Hence why I want to get it clean round them. Cleanish at least. I'm going to put this one a bit further out of the way actually. And these, you see that? Look, I've just swiped across it and it's even pulled it straight out of the little mould. Oh, fiddly or what? You're only watching this to feel my pain with these fiddly ones, aren't you? I know. There. Now, I'm going to try and get into some of these with some of these very fine mica powders that are for nail art really. This is a very pretty blue that I've had a while. Let's see if we can get right into the mould with this tiny micro brush. These are handy little things. These micro brushes. I kept seeing other resin artists and various other people using them. I thought I must get me some of those. So I did. Only arrived yesterday. And they're great. It's like having the world's tiniest Q-tip. I mean, they call them micro brushes. My eyesight's not good enough to say whether that actually is a brush or not. Don't think it is. Right, let's just see how that goes. And that is a blue one from Briar Rose. Also from Briar Rose, clean my little brush. Just a little spongy tip, isn't it? Right, also from Briar Rose I've got a green one. Now, this one I might use to do something a bit funky with. But let's go into this one with this. I'm going to put some green in the tips. I'm trying to get it up the sides as well. Now, as I'm sure you know, this stuff, the nail art one, it's basically just a very intense mica powder. So it will stick to the silicone and transfer to the resin. And in doing so, will kind of embed itself in it, so it isn't coming off. Now what I will do later is another version of this. I say later because I am going to run out of moulds to do this with, so I will have to wait till these are demoulded, but I will have a go at putting the mica on the back. I've had very good results with mica on the back of things before. Because the resin kind of lifts it somehow. It gives it a crazy effect coming through the resin. Excuse me while I talk to myself. I must learn to tap dance or something. Right, there we go. And as you can see, I'm pulling that into the middle. Getting artistic now, you see. But if this works, I think you'll agree none of these are difficult. This is proper beginner proof. Oh yes, news. Recently I'd been using some of the Let Resin UV starter kit that I'm so fond of, even though I'm not a starter, because it has everything you need in it to get started and it's terrific value. So I just got myself that rather than just stock up on resin, on the UV resin. They have brought out, I just had an email come earlier today, they've brought out some more different starter kits, I presume with Christmas in mind. So have a look at the Let Resin either website, or they are on Amazon as well. I usually buy through the Amazon site, to be honest, because if you're thinking of crafty presents for your, you know, the young crafters of your family, then they could have something that to interest you there. This is fiddly getting into these. I definitely could not have done this without this brush, or whatever you want to call it. That's nice. Right, that's enough green. Clean the little brush. You can use these little brushes so many times. Right, here's a brighter gold. That is seriously bright. Look at that. Again, it's nail art stuff, and this is the ones that one of the ones that unfortunately I don't know the brand to tell you. So what I'm going to do with this one, oh, it doesn't want to go. Give me a sec. Okay, this one doesn't like this little brush, so let's try an actual brush. Oh yes. Of course, the nice thing about this is you can blend it. Then you could put glitter on top. It depends which you decide is going to be the front. What I have done in the past, and what I might try later on in this video or in a separate video, is putting things actually on the back after it's been resined and cured, because that can work rather well as well. Seems to be acting strange on this little brush. I wonder, oh, there we go, it's going in. I wonder if it's just because I've used the brush a few times and it's damp. Could be. So I've been cleaning it, haven't I? Of course, what we'll have to do with these then is top up with the resin. I think I'll get a clean brush out for the next one. That is a proper dazzly gold. Don't know if you can see really in this light just how good that is. Basic nail art stuff, that's all. Okay, what should we have next? Oh yes, I was going to do these flakes, wasn't I? That might have to be the next video. This is another old nail art one that I just happen to know is mega shiny. Let's have a clean brush for this. Some of these, when you see them in the pot, don't look very special. But then when you get using them, they're just, oh wow. And especially, depends on what colour you're using to back them with. I mean, it might actually pay me to get some black on the go even to back some of these. Don't know. Not sure whether this is working its way in or not. I think so. There's an ultra shimmery one. This is one of the Lecture Resin ones. I'm going to think, I haven't done the alcohol inks either, have I? So we'll be doing those in the next video too. Well, next part. This is going to be a very long video. But oh, I say, this is nice. This is one of their chameleon range, so it'll be interesting to see what this does when it's been resined. We shall see. My other half's just got home. You'll probably hear my voice and think, she's making another video. Thank God it's not in my kitchen anymore. Right. So what we're going to do with these. This one then, I think I'm going to just put, I know, let's do a bit of mix and match. Let's put a dot of sparkle. And then go in with the clear. And watch how that clear makes the chameleon mica powder ping. If you hear him in the background, he's talking to the guinea pig. It probably makes more sense than me. There. So let's see what that does. And these, of course, are going to need a blob of clear. Oh, that one's nice. And I will scrape the surplus off in a sec. Just give it a chance to settle, really. Don't think I gave it a chance enough to settle on the first ones. Tell you what, let's push that clear across these. Well, it's got to go somewhere, and that one's just clear glittery. There we go. Now those are going to have a bit of everything in them, aren't they? But what I wanted to do was just drop a bit of silver alcohol ink on them, but I need to clear the surface off first. So let's do these again. Do these again. This is the difficulty with these fine ones. Every time I swipe across it, I lose a bit. Oh look, famous last words, we're trying to keep my mat clean. Right, let's give them a quick zap. I want to see if I can actually get a swirl in one of these. I'll do that later with one of the bigger ones. I'm just shaking up the metallic inks now. Oh, That's nice. I'll zoom that in a minute for you. That's gone straight in to the mould. Helps if you cut the end off first. And spike it. She says, I'll do that one in a bit. I need to find a spike. So instead I will do this. This stuff's weird. It gives you a shimmer, but there's really no actual colour to it. Oh, I'll drop some on the back of the gold. Oh, but what the hell? Why not? Let's see what it does. There we go then. I have got a load left over. I am making yet another little storage pot for in here. So what I've got left over, I'm going to just chuck in there. Good, have a bit of gold. Waste not, want not. A bit of me sparkly silvery. Have you ever done this? You just use up all the last bits and you end up with a really mad piece that you couldn't have planned that way if you tried. So that's all I'm doing, just chucking it in. There we go. Let's just lob the rest of this in here. I mixed up way too much, didn't I? Go. Lob all that into my little pot. Right then folks, I'm going to clear up. I shall then turn the heat mat on and I'll be back with you in a couple of hours or so to see what the progress is like. There we go. Right then, catch you in a bit. There we go, went ahead and demoulded them all. It's now the next morning, so I let them cure up properly because last night I got overexcited, demoulded this bad boy, which is beautiful, but look what I did to the top. I can fix that though, a little dot of UV resin, but I think that's lovely. That's just glitter. I mean, how easy could that be? Well, they're all easy, aren't they? So that's that one. That's the one I did the little gold centre. I think that's rather nice actually. I like the way on the back, I thought it was just going to blurred in. But on the front, that's actually, the gold has stayed put. So I think there's some mileage in doing some different ones with that. Different colours. So we'll play with that. The solid gold, I don't think I'll bother again, although it's nice. You haven't really got that effect I was hoping the mica would do. Nice mould though. The one that was just glitter, oh, it's lovely. Consider it just a little tiny one, but I did that using the same glitters as this one, if I remember rightly. Yeah. I'm just surprised how frosty and nice and how well that's come out, considering it's such a small mould. That was the shimmery one, which shimmery glitter mica. A little bit disappointed. It hasn't come out as shimmery as I hoped it would, but it's still pretty. Now these tiny ones, I'm saving this one till last because I've turned it over and I know what it looks like. These little tiny ones, that one's worked really nicely. I mean the mould has. Quite cute in red. So I think I'll be using that mould for some other stuff too. I'm surprised how well these worked. I thought being so fine, they would be way too small, way too brittle. I'm not going to get really rough with it, but that is plenty sturdy enough to make jewellery. And that was one of the shimmery glitters. That was the gold mica, which worked quite well, like I expected mica to. The nail art one, that's what I mean. The blue nail art mica. Oh, it's shiny blue. Again, pretty much what I expected. This was the normal gold mica. I didn't clean the back off enough on this. The only trouble with these very fine moulds is once you've done your pour, you know, I was cleaning the back off. You really have to be vigilant about cleaning it off, because getting off the surplus isn't as easy as it would be with the big moulds. That mould worked out really. Oops, she says, dropping it. That mould worked out really nice. These were that one. Again, that's just plain red. The plain colour pigments seem to be working well. Glitter seems to be working well. That's the verdict so far. Another that was just the gold mica. This is the green nail art mica. So very shiny. Like that. Now these really tiny ones, I'm amazed they came out well. This is the one I dropped. Let me have a look which is which. Yeah, this is the one I dropped alcohol ink on the back of. Now I'm surprised that that even worked, because it's so tiny. But yes, it has. And of course the alcohol ink is, and all these mica powders are, whether they're painted on or mixed in, they're sealed into the resin now. So it's ain't coming off. Disappointing, disappointing. That was the bright gold mica powder. The nail art one. Disappointing a lot. That's the one that got a bit of red from one of the others in it when I was cleaning the top of the mould. But that is the one that was that rainbow pigment. No, alcohol ink. Let's get it right. Again, a bit disappointing. These tiny ones are too fiddly for words. This one, however, if I did that in one of the bigger ones, that I think is quite lovely finish. It's so tiny I bet you can hardly see it, but that was the one of the Let's Resin pigments. Mica powders. Blimey, I'm getting them all muddled up this morning. That was the one of the shimmery chameleon micas. This one. Now, if you remember, this was nail art pigment. This is, when I demoulded it, this is what the underneath looks like. I think that's lovely. It's shiny. It's gorgeous. However, the side that I poured the resin in on, look at that. It's gone really nice and 3D. I think that's fantastic. So, those work differently depending on which size you've brushed the mica onto. That I kind of expected, because I've done a lot of stuff like that before. That's how I do my dragons. I paint it onto the inside of the mould, then I pour the resin in. So I was kind of expecting that. But normally I don't use clear resin on the back of things like my dragons. I usually black to make the colours ping. But that is absolutely lovely. And of course I filled it right up in the mould, so it's domed itself. Really pleased with that. So I'm going to start another batch this morning. I'm going to explore that technique further. I'm going to have a bit more play with glitter, because hey, why wouldn't you? And I'm just going to try a couple of different effects in these two moulds because they work so well. And probably those two. Maybe that one. I'll put these to one side. I might have another go at that one. I've come to the conclusion with these really tiny ones that there might be more trouble than they're worth, but it's just interesting to see that they actually worked. But as I'm looking at using different materials in them, and that'll be part 2 of this video, then I think those are probably the ones to go for. What I'm going to do, because this has proved to be a very long video, for anybody who just wants to look at each bit separately, I'm going to do some, I think this will be my job for today, I'll do a separate video just focusing on each of the techniques that have worked out so much better. This video really is intended for those who want to really watch some experimenting and watch the whole thing through. So yeah, hence I'm doing it in 2 parts. But I'll put it on to the end of this video too. It's just going to be a heck of a long video. Part 2 then will be these moulds again, and using, what have we got? Chameleon. That's that shiny one that works so well on the small one, so I'll do a bit more with some of those. I've got a lot of different colours of those. I've got the starter kit. These we didn't even get as far as using. These are chameleon flakes from Let's Resin. Just unfortunately don't do a bright red. And I didn't do anything with inks really other than that silver one, and I found the red and I've got a purple, so we will have a play with those. And in the big one I might even try and get a swirl in the middle, so I've got my CD ready. So that's for part 2, which will be coming up shortly. Because I found a pin to do that bottle with, and I thought in the ends, just to keep the white in check, I might do a dot or 2. Oh, that ain't gonna petri now, is it? That'll be interesting to see what it does though, won't it? Yeah, that's the rainbow alcohol ink. Oh well, it's going to be very festive whether it petries or not. Yeah. I just can't help myself. If there's something sparkly around, I've got to play with it. Right, okay, let's push this one into the end a bit. Promise I'm putting nothing weird in this one. Just be interested to see if I can get that swirl in the middle. There we go. So I've encouraged that the way I want it to spread. I was right, this resin's really thick because it is cool in here. I think we're up to 18 degrees now, the central heating's doing its thing. I'm putting the white in the tips of this one, which should contain it a bit as well. And then my last drop with the white will be where it's supposed to be, and 3 drops again. 3 drops because I did 3 drops of the red. Right, be interested to see what this does. And I did realise as well that I'd forgotten to put the resin in these little fellas. Looking at this, it looks as if I hadn't filled it up enough either. I can see what I'm doing now. I've put some in. So I'm going to put some in each end. Yeah, the petri idea has gone out the window completely. We'll have a go at that as a separate video maybe. As I intended, this was to be a messing about and having fun with it video, so yeah, you know, that's kind of what's happened. Yeah, I'll top this, as I've messed it up now anyhow, I'll top this and up too. Be interesting to see what that comedy of errors turns out like, actually. As usual, I've got some moulds in the background that I'm chucking last bits in. Right, see you later then. Here we go then, a few hours later. What are we? 3 hours later. Yeah, it's a lot quicker with these mats. This heat mat under here. So if you've seen these, there it is. It is the same sort as you get for your reptiles. For those of you who are into keeping creatures. But the set that Let Resin do has got the mat with it and everything, and it works out price-wise. Very sensible, so there we are. Anyway, I did speed it up. Let's zoom in. What we're going to do first. Let's do these ones first. Now this one, yeah, I kept messing with it, so it's not going to do the proper swirl thing, proper peach tree resin swirl, but it's done something interesting. And you know what, I think I applied too much heat with my torch, because these are getting hard to demould already. Right, in future we'll use my spray. I've got a release spray, and not get so damned impatient with a torch. See, this just shouldn't be this difficult to get out. Lesson learned. What they say about not using a torch, they're right. For getting rid of your bubbles. I went over these a couple of times. There's a bit, yeah. Went over these a couple of times with it, ooh, rather than just give it a quick click as I used to. That's probably a big mistake. So now look, although I didn't get the proper swirl I was looking for, it's done something really interesting. Now I think that's rather nice. Yeah, okay. Let's do this one next. We kind of know what this one will do, judging by its predecessor. Ah ha ha ha. Oh yes, that's nice. So if you remember, this was just fine glitter in the pointy bits, and one of my funky glitters from Let Stella in the middle, and it does seem to stay pretty much in place. As you can see, it came across a little bit. They mixed a little bit there, but I didn't. I could have pushed it back with a cocktail stick, but I just left it because I thought that would be pretty. Anyway, I'm going to leave these two till last. This was another one where I did a different colour in the centre. Oh dear, I have been too mean to my moulds. There we are. So that is it's got a little bit needs trimming away. I'll get some scissors on that later. That should be easy enough, but that is the little version of that. Oops, of that one, and I just did the colours the other way around. Pleased with that as well. This one was just glitter, if I remember rightly. You can see I'm pulling these out as they're still slightly soft. Me being impatient as always. But, ooh, you know what? Glitter's the way to go with these, isn't it? Look at that. That was the purple in the centre, then I just put a little dot of the other glitter at the ends to top it up. So it looks like that on one side, and the other side like that. Oh, which ones to do first? Let's do these little ones first. Now, I'm going to do that a bit. Loosen the mould a bit, and there we go. That one's come out easy, oh I say. And that is those chameleon flakes. Oh, and the back is gorgeous too. Remember I said those work in some moulds better than others. Shiny moulds they work best in. Some more textured moulds like my dragon scales, they don't work so well. You don't really get much. Oh, nice. And again the back's lovely as well. Okay, big thumbs up for the glitter, chameleon flakes from Let's Resin. Let's put these all in shot. That one I need to trim a bit off. Oh, I think we can call this batch a success. No, hold your breath. Let's see what this one does. Yeah, these are getting hard to demould. Too much heat. It's not the heat pad underneath, it's the gun. Silicone takes a lot of heat. You can put it in your oven. That's why it's, oh dear, it's a bit broken off there. That's why it's great for cooking. But heat guns are just downright fierce. Right, that bit that's broken off I should be able to stick back on, not to no panic. UV resin works really well in combination with epoxy in that it sticks to it fine. So any repairs you ever have to do, like as you can see I've broken a bit off there. Yeah, I haven't done the mould a lot of good with all that heat. Yeah, any bits that are broken off I can stick back on. Oh, this isn't funny. These should have just popped out. Moral of the story is, when people say to you don't use a heat gun on your moulds, don't. These may have been damaged permanently, but I know they, oh there we go, I know they will work if I use a release spray on them. Probably should do that anyway. I just can't believe how hard these are to get out. You see it's starting to, it's adhering to the mould just way too much. And that is what heat, if you use too much of it, will do. Oh, that bit stuck itself back on. Good. Right, so there's the back. It's the front I'm interested to see. I tried to swirl it, but of course, as you know, I went a bit mad with the ink, so it might have lodged. Oh, got a bit of a Petri swirl. Well, not Petri really, but a bit of a swirl and lots of sparkle. So not what I intended, but nice all the same. The back's rather nice. I might dome that off a bit. Well, there we go. So that was one very long video of me just messing about. Let's zoom this back out. Messing about. I think I'll leave it at that. I'll just say messing about. We've got some funky Christmas decorations in amongst these. Some work better than others. I would say the majority worked, to be honest, one way or another. I think the conclusions of this are, and there's the ones that I broke a bit and weren't so good. Those are the leftovers, if you remember. What I think my conclusions are is that you can put all sorts of things in these moulds. I didn't expect the white, I mean I tried to swirl it, it didn't really swirl, but I didn't expect that to work as well as that, to be honest. These nail, I think these were the nail polish, nail art pigments, Micas, work really nicely on this side, still fairly nice on that side. The flakes from Let's Resin, the Mica flakes, I hope you're picking up just how much that's colour flipping. They are gorgeous. Those are really good, but you know what, you can't really go too far wrong with some cheap and cheerful glitter. So there we go. That one's been quite a revelation. I love that. That's just pigments and mica. Anyway, there we go. Stop waffling. I'll put all the links for the products I've tested below, and I will do a run of shorter videos just focusing on one of the techniques that I found work best. You know, different colour variations and things like that. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much to those who subscribed, and a special thanks to anybody who's made it right to the end of this video without any fast forwarding. And you need to get out more, frankly. Clearly so do I. So there we are. If you haven't subscribed already, please do click the subscribe button. I've got stacks of Christmassy stuff coming up for you soon, because as you can see I'm in glitter mode, and very exciting. I've just had some more glitter come from Glitter Stella. There's the Christmas set called Gold, Frankincense and Myrrh. So I've got lots more to do. See you for the next video then. Thank you very much for your support, and enjoy your crafting.